Hey everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Um, in this video, I'm gonna be telling you guys about a story that I've been wanting to post on YouTube, but I was just waiting for the right time and the right moment. Um, it's it it's a really crazy video because it's gonna get very um, you know, very detailed and everything. So, if you read by the title, yes, I did have a stalker, and he was a coworker. And as you remember, like, what's it called? Um, if you remember, like a couple videos ago, I witnessed something here at work, in the parking lot. Like this guy was like yelling at me. So let me tell you guys, I had a stalker at work. You know, if you know me personally, you know that I do landscaping, and you also know that I work at a motel. So, anyways, I was at this job at the not this job, but the landscaping job. I had a coworker that would follow me and another coworker of mine to to our house, to our workplace. He tried to crash my car. He would drive recklessly, like on the highway. Like he'll be driving like on the what's it called? He'll be driving on the bike lane, and then when I'm driving like right here, he'll try to like get into me like and stuff like that on a one-way street where it's one way going, one way coming, and then he was on that bike lane. Yeah, he tried doing that to me 2 to 3 times, and let's see. He has done a lot of stuff. He's a big liar, big liar. He annoys the shit out of people. He talks shit about everything. He makes up stories. He makes up all this other fucking crap. Um, anyways, I have a lead who made the wrong decision of telling him where in the heck she lives or whatever, or maybe he followed her home. I don't know what exactly happened, but after that, he does backhoe work or whatever for the side, as a side job or whatever, on the weekends or when he's not at work. And so when he was working at my workplace, he was only working like Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Yeah. And so, the old supervisor that I used to had, who got fired because, so much corruption happened there, but now everything's getting better. Who got fired, he was mostly on this crazy, pathetic, crazy stalker ass side all the time. Always backs him up for everything. And then he would lie to us about, oh, I let corporate know, but bullcrap, he didn't do nothing, like corporate never did anything. Anyways, let me tell you from the start. When I first started working for landscaping, I was working for a different company called HSI. And this company was based out of another city here in Nevada. And we had a lead there, but he he quitted because of my manager that I used to have. And then I took over as a lead, temporary lead, until they hired somebody. And one time when I was being a lead for the old company, well, this guy, we were driving down this one road, fence road, because we were supposed to be picking up weeds or whatever. And he opened the truck door while the truck was in motion, while I was driving and everything else. And so I told him, I said, you need to close the freaking door because I'm driving. And keep in mind, it was snowing and everything else. He's like, no, I'm gonna get off this truck right now. So I stopped and I told him, get off the truck then and walk if you want to walk it. So he's done all that crap. One time, I had a case scenario where we were working and I was having like a trash can or something like that. And, what's it called? And then I had it and then he just came and janked it off of me. He's like, gave me that effing trash can or whatever, and I'm like, And so I just let it go because I'm like, this guy's just acting like a freaking child. And keep in mind that I'm 26 and this guy's like 60, 60, 61, 50, whatever. Yeah, he's like around 60, I believe. So anyways, fast forward, we got a lead, and then we got a new company, and he's lying and saying all these damn stupid things like, oh, I'm moving to Pahrump, all this other crap. And then it was just fucking crazy. And then we would have like company parties, when I had my old boss Chris. And so he would bring his mom, and then he did not like my lead for some reason, who is Pam. And then I think he would just bring his mom to the parties so they could just check what she's doing or whatever, which is completely stupid, which I get, and so like it was just really, really damn dumb. Like at first I didn't think that this guy was anything like this at first, and then he got my cell phone number, would call me nonstop. I'm not kidding you, I had like 50 or 60 phone calls. And then stuff got even more serious. One day, like I mentioned, I was driving on that one road, and then he was on the bike lane, and then he tried to like crash into me and stuff like that. So then I honked at him. And then one time I was driving out of work, and he parked in the middle of the freaking highway. Like, I'm like, what? And so luckily there was no other car on the other side, so I was able to pass him. And it was just crazy. And then I did not know that he followed me to work one time, but I did see him following me to my house one time. And the good thing is, like, I saw him and I knew what he was up to because I've heard from other people of he kind of did this crap, just to stalk where you live and all this other crap. And so I drove to a whole entire different place. I lost him after like 10 minutes of driving somewhere else completely different. Once I lost him, then I left. And then one day I had no clue that he knew where I worked at my second job at the motel, So one day I'm just here, it's like a Saturday or Sunday, I don't remember what day it was, but I was in here, just eating, and then he came in, and I was FaceTiming with one of my friends, and then he yelled at me like, hey, Emilio, get over here, or whatever it was. And I'm just like, what the freak? And I'm talking to my friend on FaceTime, and he's like, who is yelling at you? And I'm like, I'm not too sure, dude. Like, I don't know who the freak it is, because I had no clue that he found out where I worked. So I come over here, and I come into the lobby, and he's like, hey, what are you doing? And I'm just like, dude, you need to go. Like, you need to go. Like, you cannot be here. I'm at work. I don't have time to be talking to you. I'm like, if you need to talk to me, he's like, I need to talk to you right now. I'm like, no, I'm at work. I'm like, if you need to talk to me, wait till Monday, and you could see me at work, and we could talk or whatever. And so he goes, well, I was wondering if I could come and get a room, which, he was just BSing with me. So he's like, well, can I see one of your rooms? So obviously I wasn't gonna let him go to that room by himself. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go with you and we'll go look at the room. So I walked with him to go look at the room because, he was like, oh, I'm gonna get a room. So I'm like, okay. So I went and I showed him the room and everything, and then he came out and he's like just talking to me about work and all this other stuff, and he was calling my my lead like all this different names, and I'm just like, look, dude, you cannot be here. Like, you need to go. I don't have time and I don't have the patience for all this stuff. I'm like, I'm at work. I'm like, you need to leave. I'm like, you're not supposed to be here when I'm at work. And so then I reported it to my manager who I used to have, which was Chris, on base. And he didn't do nothing about it. He's like, well, there's nothing that corporate could do about the situation because that's all on you. So then I'm just like, okay. So me, who's like, you know, always nice and everything to people, well, I didn't want to get no cops involved because I'm like, okay, well, what about if I lose my job and he has to stay at my job or whatever, you know, because I didn't know what the heck was the case scenario. Um, so then, let's see. Oh, yeah. So then one time he wasn't at work, and then my boss told him that I had some paperwork for him and to go pick it up at my job. So he came here, and he comes here and he's like, I'm here to get that paperwork that he told you to give me. And I'm like, I don't have no paperwork for you. So my boss, my old boss, sent him to my work to get some paperwork that I didn't even have for him. And so, you know, I just been having like so much issues with this guy. And it even gets better. Hold on. It gets better. So then, I know you guys, this is like such a long story time, but I'm sorry, but I've been wanting to post this because it's been crazy. This is all last year, okay? Keep in fact, this is all last year, 2020. So then one time I was working and I was turning on some heaters for some rooms, you know, for the guests because, you know, it gets cold here. And he came in and yelled and asked for me inside the lobby, and I was outside turning on these heaters, and then he comes in and then he freaking drives like a bat out of hell in the parking lot, like speeding down the freaking parking lot, and then does a U-turn and then speeds back out, and I'm like, really? What the freak? So I recorded that. I'll try to insert that clip here if I still have it. I'm gonna try to look for it. What's it called? Yeah, so then, okay, sorry about that, you guys. I had a phone call. Anyways, so yeah, so he drove out like a bat out of hell, and then I contacted my lead and I told her about it and I recorded it and everything. And then still, they didn't want to do nothing about it. So then one time, you know, he brings his mom to my work and he comes to my work. And he goes, oh, hi, how are you? Like, what are you doing? You know, like, I'm here to show you my dog. And I'm just like, what? Your dog? Like, why in the freak do I care about your dog? Like, dude, I'm at work. I don't care about your freaking dog. Like, I don't even care about you anyways. Like, you're not even my friend. And then, so I'm like, okay, well, I need to get back to work, you know? And then I'm like, I need to get back to work. And then his mom's just talking to me like, oh, hi, how are you? How have you been? All this other crap, you know? I'm just like, oh, I'm good. I'm like, but I really need to get back to work. And so, you know, they're just out there trying to have like a communication, like conversation with me and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, oh, like I need to go back to work. You know, I was being nice to his mom, but like him, I'm just like mad because, dude, you know I'm at work. You know that you're not supposed to be at my work, and you know that you're not even my friend. And then, you know, I still kept getting phone calls after phone call after phone call from this. Sorry. Anyway, so yeah, I was getting phone calls after phone calls after phone calls of this guy. And I told him, I'm like, you need to quit calling me. I don't have time to be talking to you. I'm like super busy. I'm like, you cannot be calling me. Like, you need to quit that. And then I kept telling my my manager that I had, and he wouldn't do nothing about it. He just told him once, like, you don't need to call him. So then one time I got off work and then I went to the gas station that's next to my job here. Next to my job here at the motel. And, you know, I went to put gas and everything, and I went inside to go pay and to go get something like a drink or whatever. And so I'm coming outside of the store, and he's like right next to my car. And I'm just like, what the flip? Like, what the fuck? You know, I'm just like, what the hell is he doing like next to my car? You know, that's kind of creepy. Like, what the freak? Stalker status right there. Anyways, he was next to my car. And I told him, I'm like, what do you want? Like, why are you next to my car? I'm like, get the hell out of my way. Like, don't be getting next to my car. I'm like, what do you want? He's like, I'm so sorry for blah, 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 blah. I'm like, dude, first of all, you need to quit following me. You need to quit calling me at night. You need to quit following me. You need to quit going to my job. You just need to quit. I'm like, if you ever need to talk to me or whatever, talk to me at work. And if it is at work, I'm only talking to you about work purposes only. So then, you know, one time I was at the gym with my best friend, Alvin. And we were working out, and like I would like leave the gym late, you know. And that night I think I left like around midnight or 1. I think it was like a Friday night, and we were just working out and stuff. Well, he called me at 1 in the morning, nonstop, like calling me and calling me and calling me. And that was kind of freaky because I'm like, what the freak? And then I answered once, and he's like, hey, what are you doing? And I'm like, what do you want? He's like, oh, I just wanted to talk to you. I'm like, dude, don't you think it's kind of late for you to be calling me? You know, I'm just like, what the freak? Like, don't be calling me. I'm like, it's none of your business where in the freak I am. I'm like, you need to quit calling me. I'm like, and then I hung up on him. I told my boss again, didn't do shit. So, you know, at this point, I'm already getting really, really annoyed. So then, you know, I was really getting tired of it. I was just getting tired of that job too, because they didn't even care about their employees, and I was having all this stuff going on to me, and I just couldn't handle this crap anymore. Plus, it was like a lot of stress going on because of my manager, and he was always on this guy's side. And then one time I went into work. We were all there. We were all checking in, you know. And he tells my lead, he's like, if my dad was alive, this is what he told her. He said, if my dad was alive, me and you would kill you. And do you think that my manager did anything about that? No. He's like, oh, he's probably just kidding around with you. No, dude, you do not kid. You do not take that like that. I would not take that like that. And I seriously wanted to leave that moment, because you know what? You don't know if this guy has a gun. You don't know if he's, you know, crazy. I mean, he's already crazy for whatever. But it was just like scary, you know. And she was like, okay, I don't want nothing to do with this guy. And then he would also go to my lead's house like every single day after work. And then he would call her like nonstop and everything like that. So, you know, after all this stuff happened, I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm gonna look for another job. I need to leave. Plus, my old boss, it was just, you know, I just felt like he really didn't care about us. So, you know, then I started looking for another job, and then my cousin, who also works in that area, found me a job where he works as a custodian. So I'm like, you know what? F it. I'm just gonna take it, because I really just want to get the hell out of here, and I just want to get out, and I'm just done with this. You know, I'm like, I cannot be doing this. I'm not gonna be working somewhere where I'm just gonna get treated like crap, and they don't freaking care about their safety of their employees, and I'm gonna have a freaking stalker all my time. Well, thankfully, I got out of the place. You know, I got out, and then it was just crappy. You know, it was just crappy because like my last day was just like the last week was like hell, because I put in my 2-week notice, and then those 2 last weeks were just difficult. You know, this guy was like, well, where are you gonna go work at? Where are you gonna go work at? Where are you gonna work at? Like, can I call you? Can I come to your job? And all this other stuff. And I'm like, no. I finally blocked him on my cell phone. I told him that he couldn't come and stuff like that. So then, on my first day of working at my new job, I get a text message from my lead, and she told me that my manager, who I had, got fired. And so I'm like, what? He got fired? I'm like, that's freaking crazy, because that Friday I had to go to the post office like in town to go get my paycheck because it was in his mailbox, his work mailbox or whatever. I think it was at his house and he put it in there or whatever. Cause yeah, long story. That's a different video. Anyways, yeah, that first day that I worked at the new job, he got fired that first day. Corporate came down, they fired him, whatever. So anyways, I'm working at this new job for like 3 months, you know, everything's going good. Which that's a different video. Really good company. And then they told me like, oh, you should come back, like you should come back, it's a lot better, you know. So I'm like, okay. So I reapplied everything, I got everything back, like my seniority and everything. So I'm back at the company. And yes, I'm still there. So I came back, and you know, within the first month that I'm working there, stuff gets crazy with this stalker. He started stalking me again. He comes to my job here at the motel. And then one time he came and he's like, what's her phone number? I need to call her. She doesn't answer her fucking phone or whatever. And I'm like, you have their phone numbers? I'm like, I'm not gonna give it to you. I'm like, this is gonna be the last time I give it to you. And after that, I don't want you to come here. You're not welcome here. You shouldn't be coming here. I'm at work. I'm like, I don't have time for your freaking BS. So, you know, and then one time I was, so he came and he kept coming and all this other stuff. So, you know, all this stuff keeps happening. So then one day he comes to work and he was off for like about a week or two, you know. He comes and we're like unloading the trailer. We're dumping all the trash, all the weeds. And then plus like these past few months since like August, it's been crazy with management because we didn't have a manager till now. And so anyways, he was coming, and then one time he came to work one day, and he says, oh hey, how are you, you know, like I got a new truck and all this stuff. And he shows us like his new truck and all this stuff, and then I'm like, okay. Oh no, wait, he had his old truck and he came and he talked to my lead, and I was right there. So then later that night I come to work here at the motel, and she calls me like around 9 o'clock, 9:30, which I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird, like why is she calling me this late? So I answered, and I'm like, hey, hello, what's up? And she's like, hey, you remember, you know who? And I'm like, yeah. And then she goes, well, he pressed charges on me because he said that I beat him up or all this other crap. And I had the house full of cops. I was about to get arrested and go to jail and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, what? Like, what? Like, are you serious? So, you know, at that moment, I got really scared because I'm like, okay, what about this guy tries to go to my house or knows where I live? And like, I mean, good thing he doesn't know. But I mean, I'm just questioning everything, you know, everything was just running on my mind. And I'm like, are you serious? And then she's like, yeah. And then she's like, I need you to meet me at work like at 5 in the morning or whatever. And I'm like, okay. I was already scared by her telling me all this stuff. I was scared. And he did like a false police report and everything on her. Luckily, I was with her that same day that he said that he reported that. I was there and I saw everything that happened. She never did anything to him. She was in the work truck just talking to him, period. She didn't even get off the damn truck. And then he was on his personal truck, you know, talking to her out of his window. So then the next day we go in, we talk to corporate and all this other stuff. And, you know, at this moment, because I already had all this stuff going on with him, she goes, you know what? I'm going to put a restraining order. And I'm like, you know what? I'm joining you on that because I I was stalked by this guy. This guy was stalking me, and then one time he was just, he was just stalking me for like a year or two. And it's crazy, you guys, because once you have a stalker, you don't feel safe, you feel worried, like you don't even know what to expect. And I was stalked with this guy for like 2 to 3 years, like 2 years, as long as I've been, yeah, like 3 years or whatever. um so anyways, we went to the police department, and I finally put a restraining order on him. um you know and I felt like so freaking great. Well, then I got the copy that they gave me back. No, hold on. Then I had to come back, and they showed me I had to come back the next day to get the copies of the restraining order to see if it got approved or not. And it did. And then I got really mad at the county here because they showed my address on the restraining order, and that's one thing that I was really trying to avoid for him to have, was my address, or for him to know where I live. I was so mad. I was really mad. I panicked. I called the police department. I'm like, excuse me. I'm like, I didn't want them to put this in there. So luckily, they didn't, what's it called? They didn't give him the papers yet. Like, they didn't let him know that, he had a restraining order against me and my lead. So I had to go back, sign everything again, and then finally I got the restraining order on him for like 45 days, which was perfect. And then he came to work like that next day, after like 2 days after I put the restraining order and all that stuff. And he was like talking to us, and I'm just like ignoring him, because you're supposed to ignore them. I did not talk to him for one bit. I ignored him, everything. And my lead was just like talking to him, and I'm just like, why are you talking to him if he just put a freaking false police report on you and all this other stuff? And then he's like showing his new truck that he got, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? It was really crazy, you guys. After that happened, and after he got served, thank God he did not come back to work. Well, then I got a phone call from the court here that he wanted to, what's it called? He wanted to put something, he wanted to do a change. He wanted me to drop the restraining order. And I said, hell no. I am not freaking dropping that freaking restraining order. Hell no. I'm not stupid. And then they told him, and then he sent another one saying that he wanted it to be where I could only talk to him about work related, because he needed his job and all this other stuff. And I said, no, I'm not changing anything. I'm not gonna talk to him at all. Like, there's nothing that I need to talk to him about. And then when my lead got her paperwork about this freaking fake police report that he was trying to press charges on her, he put down there that I was a witness of it, that I witnessed everything, and that I was on his side and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, that's freaking wrong. I'm like, I never freaking even was his friend. I never even considered him as a friend. And I was never a freaking witness on him, or was there to freaking report that or whatever. So that really made me mad. So then I came back and I said, you know what? I'm gonna freaking put a restraining order for like 1 year. So I signed the paperwork and did that. So then I had a date for trial set and everything. And I go there that day, I'm already losing like 2 hours from work, because I think it was supposed to be like around 9, and we go in like around 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning to work. And I get there and they're like, oh, we forgot, like we were supposed to, she's like, I hate to tell you this, but we weren't able to locate him or find him or get a hold of him. And I'm like, what is that supposed to mean? That you guys can't freaking give him the freaking restraining order for 1 year? And then they're like, no, but you could sign another paper. I'm like, are you flipping kidding me? It was just a freaking nightmare, guys. Finally, after so many things that happened, and then corporate finally got involved when we put in the restraining order, he got fired. I was so relieved. I haven't seen him ever since all of that. It was really crazy, but the purpose of me making this video is because if you're going through something like this, speak up. Get the cops involved. Don't be afraid, because I was afraid to do so. And your safety is more important than a freaking job. Okay? I regretted that because I thought I was gonna get fired from my job because I put a restraining order on this guy. But, you know, I'm happy that once my old manager got fired and then corporate stepped in and helped us out with everything, he got fired, thankfully. Thank God, because it was just crazy and everything. But yeah, you guys, anyways, I'm so sorry for this long video. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you want to know anything else, or if you want more videos or other topics or whatever, leave them down in the on the comments down below. Don't forget to give it a like, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.